guys, welcome to Potato Magic.
Hi. It's a Tuesday, 2 days before Thanksgiving, and what I'm thankful for this year, well, one of the many things is, besides my daughter, of course, is that this past weekend I won a PPTQ, Standard PPTQ, using the red-green energy combo Marvel deck. I don't really know what it's called. So this is a deck I originally put together because I saw that Jabberwocki had done super well with it, won the MTGO Standard Online Championship with it, and it seemed like a deck my daughter would have fun playing. So I put together, it was a lot of fun, and I decided to play it, and it worked really well. But the purpose of this video is to show my daughter some situations that I got into during the tournament, and to see what she thinks the right move is, and then to explain what I did in those situations and why I think it's right. And so this way, when we play in the Standard Showdown this weekend, perhaps she'll have some extra preparation. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to put together a first situation. And this took place when I was playing against a red-white vehicles deck. Very aggressive. I'm not going to put lands out, but you can assume that you have at least 5 lands, I guess. And 3 energy.
Do I have a hand?
You have a hand of a Kozilek's Return, and what we were supposed to not. And this is what you are facing.
2 damage.
And you are, say, I think 15 life. I'm full. Activate Gideon. Swing with everything. What do you think the right thing to do is here? Let me put the Gideon a little more into the camera.
I think I would block with a spider here.
Mm-hmm.
A spider at here. Fish cannot here. And then take. And this right here.
Okay, so what I think you're right in identifying that the Selfless Spirit definitely has to go. So you have a Kozilek's Return that can remove a lot of creatures, and that definitely has to be blocked. So my question is, how do you think you're going to win this game? And also, the first thing I would note is that you have a Kozilek's Return. Blocking this Thopter might not be such a big deal, because if you cast it, then all the Thopters, Pia, the Knight Ally, they're all going to just die.
Yeah. I think I do want to block here though, because the Paula doesn't die. And she can end up being quite annoying with other things and vehicles.
Actually, I think that's right. 2 energy. Sorry.
And knowing I have at least 5 energy, I could play this and crack it to get 6 energy for the Aetherworks.
Okay. So what I'm going to say now is the Aetherworks untapped. You have 2 energy right now. How do you win this game? So even if Ishkana survives, you have Ishkana. They have Gideon. Who's going to win that game?
Gideon.
Right. So what do you think? How do you win? What do you have to be able to do?
I'm going to be able to do damage quickly.
How do you get the cards you need though? What's the best way to get that? Actually, I think you were at 3 energy, which means what I did was probably a little mistaken. But so because here's what I did. Because I'm at 3 energy, what I need to happen the most is I need to be able to activate the Aetherworks Marvel as much as I can, because that is my path to victory. So if I can get 3 energy this turn, I need to be able to do that. So you're right. The Selfless Spirit has to die, because without that, because Kozilek Returns is terrible with it. But what I decide is I actually want all my other creatures to die too.
actually.
And that's exactly what I did. Because I wanted to make sure I got 3 energy this turn. So there's 2 things I want to do. I want to make sure Selfless Spirit dies. I want to get 3 energy this turn. If I chump with Ishkana, they can sack the Selfless Spirit. I'm only going to get 2 energy. So that's why I chumped Gideon with Ishkana.
The spirit would die.
No, because what would happen if I went like this? If they sack the Spirit,
You
then this
sack
would...
it in response to
Yep.
damage, which...
Yeah, exactly. So so this is what I did. My opponent looked a little surprised and said, okay, Trey, he didn't even sack the Selfless Spirit, meaning I got an extra energy, which is a mistake on his part. But I only took 3 damage, and then all my stuff died. I got to 7 energy. Here, let me just use a bigger dice. And then I instantly used it, and as it turns out, I got a Chandra, which, you know, it wasn't exactly what I needed, but when I tapped, next turn, I played
I think you would co-select.
I Kozilek's returned, killed the Pala, you know, his board was gone, except for Gideon. Played the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot, got some life back, sacked the Puzzle Knot, and then the next time, so sacking the Puzzle Knot got me up to 8 energy, and then the next time I used the Marvelworks, I got Emrakul, and that's how I won the game. So I think what's important to remember in this deck is that, you know, keeping cards like Ishkana around might feel like the right thing to do, but it's more important if you don't have an overwhelming board presence to just keep using Aetherworks Marvel as much as possible. Let your things die. Okay. So that's one situation. I'm just going to give you quickly another hypothetical. Let's say you have 3 spiders in Ishkana.
Why does it always involve Ishkana?
Well, it's just because the obvious things in this deck are obvious. If you have Emrakul, you'll probably win. But sometimes it's a little different.
I have Emrakul. I'll probably...
Thank you. And let's say we're both at, you know, relatively low life. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way.
Here.
No, I got it.
Okay.
9, 6. And let's say we have a pretty stalled board state. Let's say Selfless Spirits, the Pala, blah, blah, blah.
Do I have a hand of any sort?
You have no hand.
Okay.
How do you... And you have a bunch of land. Let's say you have, like, 8 other lands here. How do you win this game?
Ishkana.
That's right. Don't forget to trigger Ishkana with the Aether Hub, because that's a 2-turn clock right there. In fact, you can just pass the turn. If it's your turn, you pass the turn. Make sure you survive whatever I do, and trigger at the end of the turn, or if you're going to lose some spiders during your turn, and then you probably win on your turn, on your next turn. Cool. Now, let me give you another situation. Against White Blue Spirits.
Yay!
Everybody's favorite deck.
Yeah, not. Not.
So this is a situation on one side. Looks pretty grim for you, right? But fortunately, give this to me. On your turn, you have just cast Emrakul. Okay, so you cast Emrakul, pass a turn, and then this is what you see in my hand. I don't think it was Reflector Mage. I think it was actually something like Thalia. Let me get that out. So, what do you do on your turn? On my turn. I think I might let's say that I drew the Thalia.
When does crew end?
At the end of the turn. Oh, life totals are important here too. So, let's say you still have a fair amount of life, not a ton, but a fair amount. What would you do?
I might actually want the Avison to flip. Right?
I don't think so. Avison just usually just has to die. It's
Krill,
okay.
Thalia. No, like, well, let's say I did want Avison to flip. I'd crew this,
Mhm.
hit into Merkle
Mhm.
without drawing the card.
Mhm.
Play Thalia, and the turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, this flips, and everything dies with this.
That's an interesting thought. At the beginning of the upkeep, this flips. They flash this in.
I do this and discard this.
So that's a possibility. That's actually interesting. This is what I did. So I'm at a high enough life total. And do you know the theory of looting? Why it's always good? I mean, your hand is good.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you basically get rid of the worst thing.
Right. So the opposite theory of that is that you would always want to use your opponent's smuggler's copter because you can always get rid of their.
Best.
So what I did, crew. I wanted to make sure that Avison died, so I attacked. Took the damage because I was at high enough life total. Decoration in stone. So I can instantly say, well, how do I want to handle this? What I ended up doing was I discarded the Avison, Decoration in Stone, my Servant of the Conduit, and they were left with this. And then I just started swinging in afterwards. But I think it's important to keep in mind that if you're playing against White Blue Flash or you're playing something against the Smuggler's Copter, and you have enough life, then do that. Make sure you do that. Make sure you loot them and get rid of their best card. It's really, really powerful.
Okay.
The better one was when there was another time when they had Gideon, and I Decoration in Stone their Gideon post combat. That felt super good.
Wait, what?
So that leads.
Wait, it's target creature.
That leads into.
It says target creature.
Yeah. So the fact that I was able to do that to Gideon leads me into my next thing that I want to talk about. What is one of the big differences between Stasis Snare and Declaration in Stone?
Declaration in Stone gives you a clue and exile. Well, so Declaration gives you a clue and kills everything of that on their board. Stasis Snare has flash, and I think that and it can be removed.
Yep. So those are all definitely true. One other important thing is that Decoration in Stone can be used on any creature. Stasis Snare can only be used on your opponent's creature. I actually thought Stasis Snare could only be used on your opponent's creature at first until I read it carefully and realized I could remove my opponent's. Decoration in Stone, which, as I said, helped in getting rid of a very troublesome Gideon. This also means that if you're playing against a white deck and you know you're going to get Emrakul out, let's say the turn before you have, and let's say you're about to use Aetherworks Marble. Here, put it down. Put it down. Face down. Sure. Okay. Let's say it's your main phase and you're not sure what to cast, or let's say you're hoping to get Emrakul, and you have mana up, and you're playing against a white deck. Which mana is tapped, which does happen sometimes. You get Emrakul. Now, which one of these do you want to cast? Not knowing their hands yet.
Probably the Chandra.
So what I would always do is play the Servant first, because if they have a Stasis Snare, then I want to be able to get rid of the Stasis Snare on something safe, because it can only target your opponent's creature.
Okay.
So that's another situation that I kind of ran into. Okay, next one. This one will be fairly simple. Can you find this 4 land in the Servant of the Conduit?
Huh?
Find 4 land in the Servant of the Conduit.
What does that mean?
Find 4 land and the Servant of the Conduit.
Oh, I thought you said for lamb.
Oh.
What the heck are you saying? I'm gonna give myself game trail.
Sure. If you must.
Because I feel like it and I'm awesome.
Okay, so you just played your 4th land. You have many cards in hand, one which is a marble. Your opponent, of course, doesn't know that. And another Servant of the Conduit. So, you're playing against White Blue Flash.
How much energy? Because I feel like...
Sure, let's say I think 4. You use a tune with the Aether. So what would you do on this? You just play the lands. What would you do in this turn, knowing you have 3 mana up?
Well, I think I would want to play the Marvel first.
So what are you worried about against? Declaration Stone? Yes. What's the really, really painful flash card in
Spell card.
Yes. So I'll give you one more added piece of information, which is that this would be the 3rd game of a match. In the 2nd game, he obviously sided in a lot of blue counter spells, ceremonious rejections. I remember seeing the gates, stuff like that. So I decided that he probably had a lot of counter spells, but not things like Fragmentize, for example. So what would you do with this turn?
I wouldn't want to play Aetherworks because it's 4 or up.
Yep, 4 or less.
4 or less.
Yep.
So I think I would want to play Servant and then Aetherworks next turn.
So the reason why you want to play the Servant right away is there's a better option. What if you attack?
I attack.
Now let's say I flash in a Spell Queller. What does that let you do?
Play the Servant.
I've just played my Spell Queller. What is it now very safe to do?
Play the Aetherworks.
Exactly, the really dangerous card. And as I said, I was pretty sure my opponent didn't have Fragmentizes or anything. So what actually happened is that once got a situation, started attacking. Let me reset our life. Starting with this, he said pass. So if he passed, what do you do then?
Servant?
Yeah, play the Servant, see what happens. And he said, okay. Next turn, he played another land. Which I don't have in hand, but he played another land, let's say Perry Stream, and then passed, untapped. It doesn't really matter. What do you do this turn? Exactly. I did 12 damage to him that way. And eventually he got to the point where he just had to tap out to actually play things to block against the Servants of the Conduit, at which point I could play the Aetherworks Marble. So I guess my point here is that, you kind of have to understand the tempo of the deck your opponent is playing. Realize that he might have shifted from something more aggressive to something that's looking for that had more like counter spells and permission spells. And at that point, you're going to try and go under them. You're going to you should feel free to be a little more aggressive. Think that they won't cast their Spell Queller because they're going to want to save it for things like Aetherworks Marble. So always consider stuff like that while playing. Does that make sense? Okay, let's see. Next situation. The next situation isn't really so much a situation as something funny that happened. So I was playing against a black-green Delirium deck.
Okay.
I'll lay out the situation for you. Black-green Delirium deck, we had 10 minutes left because the first 2 games went super long. And I drew an opening hand of 5 lands and 2 Weaver's Puzzle Knots. Keep or mulligan.
Totally keep it! Such a good hand!
So the right thing to do would be to keep. What I actually did was like, oh my goodness, I'm on the play and I'm in a hurry. I'm just going to keep it.
You mean mulligan?
Sorry, the right thing to do would be to mulligan. What I actually did was keep, which was a mistake. Which I would 100% agree was a mistake. But so what ended up happening in that game was that I played Weaver's Puzzle Knot, played another drew. My first draw was another Weaver's Puzzle Knot. He transgressed the mind. He transgressed my mind, and said, "Huh, okay, that's a lot of puzzle knots." It's like, yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking. He tried to take a puzzle knot, and it's like, oh no, it's only 3 or greater. It's like, oh right. And then played another land, and then when I got to my 4th land, I top decked. Yeah, I got very lucky. So I should have definitely mulliganed this, but what I realized is this deck actually has a lot of life gain to it and can survive. It can afford to be slow against a slow deck because you're just going to gain a ton of life. By the time I played the Marvel, I had maybe 3 puzzle knots out, maybe sacked a couple of them. It was like 33 life. and there was not much he could do. He couldn't damage me fast enough in time, and my marbles just went off with like a ton of energy. So this deck feels like it might require a lot of pieces to work. You need the marble, you need the energy, but in reality, it can last for quite a while. You don't need to panic if you have a suboptimal opening hand. 2 puzzle knots and 5 lands probably should mulligan, but something maybe like 2 puzzle knots and like a Chandra or something, you know, maybe not. You know, like you might be able to last longer than you think. So that's something that I to keep in mind. Okay, next situation.
My face is doing that.
Oh, are you getting bored? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to help you win.
What was your idea to have me win?
Okay, there's 3 more situations. Actually, only really 1 more important situation.
I'm doubting this one is the important one.
No, it's kind of a, it's kind of one that's that maybe requires a little bit of thought. You're at 12 life. I'm at 20 life. I have Avacyn and Thalia. You have Emrakul, and it's your turn. Do you attack or not?
I think I do.
Okay, I agree with that. So one line of thoughts: you don't attack. You want to hold back. You're at 12 life, and you're going to lose pretty soon. So why not hold back? Hold back. Hope to draw into something better. The reason why I think that's wrong is because your opponent is also going to draw into something better, and white especially has plenty of ways to deal with Emrakul. Stasis Snare, Decoration of Stone, stuff like that. By attacking with this, Emrakul's a 2-turn clock. You know, like you're going to bring them down to 7 life and then have lethal next turn. You force them to be able to have something. By holding back, you give them time to find a solution. If they find a solution for Emrakul, you're pretty much done against this. There's no way out of that. So
unless he somehow draw another Emrakul and
right.
do something.
There's ways, but it seems uncertain to me. So don't be afraid to be a little aggressive on this deck, as even if you're on the medium life total. You know, in limited it might feel a little scarier. In limited I might change my answer, because in limited people probably won't have a deck of like all removal spells. They'll have like some pump spells, they'll have like some random cards you won't expect. Maybe then it's smarter to hold back. But in constructed, you know, you gotta know what your opponent's deck is. White blue doesn't have pump spells; they don't use that. So you can see what's on the board. You can kind of think like, do they have any way of gaining haste or anything on their creatures? If the answer is no, then be aggressive and force them to find an answer before their clock runs out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. 2 more last things aren't really situations, but just kind of notes. Sideboarding notes. Tormenting Voice. Always. I have 2 Tormenting Voices in here. They almost always came out because it was too slow against the decks I played. Actually, no, sorry. It always came out against White Blue Flash and the Marduk vehicle stacks. It was too slow. I didn't want to dirtle around. I put them instead. I would put it in Nissas, which were great. So against faster decks or decks that can do well, you want to make sure you don't want to have time wasting cards like this. I would take these out. I would take out 1 or 2 Vessels of Nascency, but keep a few in because you want to give yourself a shy Delirium, a good Delirium draw, but not too many, and just take these out. Nissa, it turns out to be a superstar against the smaller decks, against some decks, especially against white blue. If they change into a slower, more permissionless type deck, if you cast Nissa and they don't have the right removal spell, like counterspell, like if they're playing Ceremonious Rejections, you stick Nissa. You know, she's a little more expensive to Gideon, but you maybe accelerate her out with Servants of the Conduit, and then she hits for 5 every turn, just like Gideon, which is great. So I won 1 match just complete through Nissa. So last but not least, do you know what the best strategy against an opponent is?
What?
Shuffle their deck so they only get 2 or 3 lands by turn 6. That worked wonders for me in 2 games, and it was awesome. So that is the best piece of advice I had for you. Any questions, daughter dear? Okay, well, I think this concludes this video. I hope you found this educational. And it's a great deck to play. It's a lot of fun. I highly encourage it. Hope you guys come back. Bye.
Bye.